Hello and welcome. Today we've got Mark and Danielle, and we are going to be discussing Biden's inflation solution. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and the guests can choose their words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Mark and Danielle, thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to? We'll go with Danielle first.
Very, very good, Nicholas. Good to see you. I'm good. I'm actually really, really good. Last night I was on the Peloton riding the bike and I listened to your interview with Gene Decode. And so just so you know, you're with me when I'm exercising. But I loved his message so much. And that's how, for me, it's like, everything's good. I'm so hopeful. I'm so optimistic about the future. And so it was
Absolutely.
good. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. No, thank you to Gene. Gene is a wonderful, wonderful man. And he's very inspiring and his wise words. Absolutely. And you, Mark, yourself, how about you? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. It's great to be back. Great to see you again. And while Danielle was watching you, I actually had Planet of the Apes. So, and I got to tell you, it seems like that society was a lot more civilized than what we've got going on right now.
I love that movie, the one with the Charlton Heston.
Yes.
Yes, that was the original.
Yeah.
So I believe there's PowerPoints that you would like to share with the viewers today in respect to inflation and the history of inflation. So where do we begin right here?
Well, I mean, I think the big thing that we want to try and be as upbeat as possible because, obviously people come, they want to have an escape a little bit. They want to get knowledge and truth, but they don't want to hear the doom and gloom. So I think it's important that we convey the information more, that this is reality, this is history, these are lessons that we can learn from so we can make decisions now so we can improve and have a very good quality future. And we still can do something about it. That's the optimistic message I hope that we can convey to people. And I'll just kind of go through, and we'll both go through a few of these slides to kind of give people an idea. And again, I want everybody to understand this is important information that we need to know. And so
knowledge is power.
100%. Sure. Yes. And so let me start by showing this. This right here, these are inflation numbers from 2000 to 2018. And I'm just going to move this down here because I know that block appears on my screen because of Zoom. I'm not sure why. But anyway, this was an 18-year curve. And you can see what these numbers are showing there. And as Danielle has mentioned, very, very has pointed out before, that these are necessities. These aren't things that are just extra things that we want to get in our life. These are things that we have to get, such as insurance and water and food and medical care and such things as that. And the costs have gone up. Now, this doesn't even include what happened this past year, where some of these numbers are the exact same thing in a 1-year period. And what's happening is this, everybody. It's because the purchasing price of the dollar is dropping. A lot of people don't understand what inflation is. It means that the dollar can buy less. That's basically what it means. And why is the dollar dropping? Well, it's because they put more money into the money supply. This is a little bit of the history of the dollar. I didn't know any of this 2 years ago, and I'm in my 50s, and I'll tell you, it's something everybody needs to know. They think that what we have in paper money is safe and it's something that's going to be secure, but that's where we've got to get educated quickly. 1913, they created the Federal Reserve. In 1944, right after World War II, in order to get all the countries together on a universal currency system, they established the US dollar as being what the world's reserve currency was going to be, because it was backed 100% by gold. Fort Knox, probably a lot of people have heard of that. That's where it was. But what ended up happening over time, something you're seeing a lot of today, is that the US was spending money. We got into trade deficits, so other countries wanted their gold. So in 1971, so we didn't have to send all the gold to other countries. And in this case, it was they didn't want the paper money anymore, because even though the dollar used to be as good as gold, it was no longer. It was losing value already. So they wanted their gold. So Nixon pulled our dollar off the gold standard on what was supposed to be a temporary suspension. And now it's been 50 years. when you pull the dollar off, such as what they did, it creates a fiat currency system. And we didn't know what a fiat currency system was. And just in talking with very, very successful people around me in the past few days, I found out that many people don't know what it is. It basically means that your dollar is no longer backed by a material asset such as gold. It is backed by nothing other than what the government's force says that that dollar is worth. And if your dollar starts losing recognition on the global stage because you're either using it as weaponizing it, which is what a lot of people talk about when you start issuing sanctions using your money, you start seeing other countries which had been on the US system pull off, which is what you're seeing with Russia with the rubles, backed by gold now. And you're also seeing what's happening with China, where now they can even exchange yuan and rubles for oil now. And it used to only be the US dollar. So we're seeing these warning signs. But people, if you don't know it's a warning sign, then you tend to ignore it. You tend to think, oh, it has nothing to do with me. But look at what the dollar has done in purchasing power from 1913 to 2013 here. It dropped from $1 all the way down to a nickel. And I'll guarantee you it's down to a penny or lower today. And the way they're printing money, and if you just simply look at the executive order that was put out recently, you can see that on the very bottom line, hidden in the bottom, they want to go to 100% digital currency, which means they can monitor everything that you're buying and spending your money on. They want to get rid of the paper currency system completely. And that's why a lot of places don't take cash now. And so this is just some slides that we found that really explain what hyperinflation is, because a lot of people don't know what it is. But basically, as you can see up here, it starts when the country's government starts printing money to pay for its spending. Okay. And instead of tightening the money to stop inflation, actually, it goes over here. Hyperinflation is when the prices of goods and services rise more than 50% in a month. Now, we're seeing the price of goods go up. It hasn't hit 50% yet, but you're seeing it grow up. A lot of times they're playing with the numbers, so it doesn't look as bad as it is. But if you take a look at what gas has done, it's been 100% increase over the past couple of months. So as the government increases the money supply, prices rise. Instead of tightening the money, the government just keeps printing more. And what are we seeing? That's exactly what we're seeing right now. We're sending hundreds of millions here, hundreds of millions there. And these are our tax dollars that we don't have any say in where they're going. So when too much currency starts sloshing around, your prices skyrocket. That leads to hyperinflation. And that's what these are here. These are currencies that have all failed. They were all fiat currencies, all backed by government decree, but not backed by gold or silver. And they fell apart. And the most recent one was Venezuela. Venezuela's got a lot of oil. They should be rich. They were rich. But instead of when they got into an economic crisis, they printed money. And when they printed money, it caused all the other money to be worthless, all the dollars to be worthless, because they drop in value. The more you have of something, less it's worth. And this is Germany in 1922. They had to go in to buy bread, have a wheelbarrow full of cash. I mean, our founder and our CEO, one of our founders and our CEO, were in countries when their fiat currency fell apart, and they saw it firsthand. And so, the thing is again, you learn from history. And this is what happened in inflation. Look at their money supply. They went out, and this is when they started going into hyperinflation, right around the time you started seeing the printing of money go up. Now, look at what US is doing. I mean, it's crazy. And so people are like, well, what do we do? What do we do? Well, that's where gold and silver can be a hedge against that, because banks and governments are collecting it right now. It's a physical, true money that can be used anywhere around the globe. And that's why it's a smart thing to do. And if you take a look at the buying power, you had 2,500 silver dollars or 2,500 paper dollars. In 65, you could have bought a brand new car. You fast forward to 2020, and the 2,500 paper money, $2,500 in paper money, wouldn't even put the down payment on a car. But the 2,500 ounces of silver would now be able to buy you probably 2 cars. This one blows my mind. If you had gold, let's say you had gold back, what if we'd been converting all our money to gold and silver all this time? This is the stuff that we were never taught. And that's where, Danielle can get a little bit more into the education part of what this can do for people. But that's been so empowering. I mean, this right here, if you had 626 ounces of gold back in 2001, you could have bought a brand new home worth that amount, 169,000. But even if you'd spent some of that gold last year, 2021, you could have spent some. So you got less than 626. You could have bought 3 homes worth more than $1 million combined for less gold. And people say, oh, it's not a good investment. It's not. It's a hedge. It's an insurance against for your money that we're working our tail off that is dropping in value by the day. And that's the reality. Same thing with silver here. Look, it can buy 3 to 4 times as much as it could 20 years ago for the same thing. Quarter of what it would have cost in silver to pay for your electric bill, which is a higher price tag. And so it just simply makes sense. And, that's one of the reasons why that we wanted to stress this. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I'll just add, yeah, sure, definitely. I think you can't deny, right? For those of us who can see, have eyes to see, ears to hear, it's very clear what's happening. And so, and for me, I look at it as this is what has to happen, right? Because it's so corrupt, it's so mismanaged, all of it. But we don't have to just sit back and be spectators, right? We can do something about it. And, the more people that do something about it, the better situation we're all going to be in collectively, because now we can take care of ourselves. We can get ourselves set up so that regardless of what's going on outside of our homes, we can take care. We can continue to barter, to exchange. We've got a community. We've got an amazing community. And this is just a way. So we feel very passionate about educating people on this. I was a teacher, for 14 years. Why are students never taught about gold and silver? I'll tell you why. As a teacher, we're not taught to teach about gold and silver. None of us were taught about it. So, get yourself in the know and get gold and silver. And
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're more than willing to share, but this isn't a sales pitch. Just get it. We'll show you what we have, but it's not for you. Just make sure you got it.
Absolutely. Mark, could you please explain why is silver so undervalued and what is the potential of it revaluing against our gold standard money, like now the ruble in Russia has now been backed to gold, like we see also on the US national debt clock, which we do see the dollar to silver ratio that per ounce of silver would be around $3,000 to $4,000, but right now it's about $30.
Well, it's being manipulated. They hold it down. The powers that be that distribute it out, but it's kind of like if you took a look at the housing bubble back in 2008, what happened with that? You'd see that a lot of times the people they're buying homes they can't afford, and then eventually the bubble grows to a certain point where it pops, and because it just doesn't work. Well, right now you've got silver and gold that you have a limited supply on. You only have so much that's out there, obviously, and there's so much that can be distributed. And silver being an industrial metal, it's needed in the not satellite dishes, the solar panels and the computers, probably in the satellite dishes too. All the electronics out there is needed in. So there's a demand for it, but it's being held back. But if people are buying, if you have the average people out there going in and getting their share, and through the Sound Money wallet, you can get it any time with no minimums, no maximums. It's a digital wallet. As Danielle was saying, we can send silver and gold between each other through a digital wallet backed by physical, which is the important part. But I think the real thing that we're going to see is that, as the other thing I'll mention is, you're also seeing within our stock market, we have GLD and SLV. These are ETFs. So these are basically pieces of paper that represent gold and silver, but they are printing way more ETFs than they have actual physical ounces. And so that's part of the bubble. If people will really go to start trying to collect, that's when they're going to see that it's not there. And and that one is when I believe that we're going to start seeing the prices really start to go up. In the meantime, I want the prices to stay where they're at because we want to get more and more. It really, as Robert Kiyosaki said, it's about the ounces. How many do you have? And so that's why we're trying to get as many as we can. But we're also having great time with the collectibles, which we're seeing a tremendous appreciation in. Tremendous.
Well, no doubt silver and gold is the best investment. I'd say it's the best because it's real tangible assets. It's God's money. And what I mean by that, it's not just money because we give it value. It's money regardless because it's got silver and gold. Um, I would love to let the viewers know that I will leave a link below because I know that you guys do a free webinar where the viewers can sign up to, and they can jump on the webinar and meet you guys, where you talk about the digital assets and the silver and gold coins and all the other benefits that come with it. Is there anything that you would like to add in respect to that, Danielle?
I just think
Mark?
that
I think one thing I'll mention, because I know we have a lot of conversations with people, the storage, I'll just say that the free storage that comes with this as well is something that most people don't feel safe. We keep ours off premise in a vault. And so it's just all of it, I think that's.
Yeah. And get educated. Like Danielle said, even if you go and buy it from some other source, go for it as long as you trust that source. There's a lot of fraud out there, a lot of scammers. So you have to make sure that what you're getting is real. There's some really great deals you might find online, but we've got, again, our CEO told us a story about someone who bought a monster box, which is 500 ounces for $10,000, and it was all lead. And so there's a lot of, you have to be careful. And that's one of the big reasons why we found this to be one of the safest ways to give you not only access, but education on what you're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing out there. Just buying it is great, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're powerless.
Absolutely. Well, Mark and Danielle, thank you for introducing me to this membership, 7K. It's a great opportunity. I'm part of it. I want the viewers to know that. I will leave a link below. So just click on that, put your email and your name, and Mark and Danielle will be in contact with you for the free webinar, and you can see all about it for yourselves. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish? Mark, you can go first.
No, just, it's been a pleasure getting the chance to, be on your show and hopefully being able to educate people. Most importantly, I think we have a great community, as Danielle said, and we just want to be able to get people empowered. I don't want to see anything negative happen to people. And, that's one of the reasons why we like to get the word out. So
and Danielle, over to you.
Yeah, I'll just, on that, we've met the most amazing people through you, Nicholas. We really have. So it's just, it just, right now, I think magnetically, there's just a pull of the people who are supposed to come together. And regardless, we're just so grateful. We love talking to your viewers because we know we can just have candid conversations, right? That we don't have to censor ourselves with. So
exactly. And that's what's great, that we all come together as well as a community, and we all part of this great project. So definitely click on the link below and register for this free webinar. I'm sure you will love it. Thank you so much. And we'll speak again to you both very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. God bless.